Gavin Smith and I, Leor Gates, grew up next door, inseparable since diapers. I was always the quiet kid, introverted and reserved. The only person I felt truly comfortable around was Gavin. He, on the other hand, was everything I wasn't: bright, bold, and beautiful in a way that made people stop and stare. He had golden hair, warm honey eyes, and a smile that could punch the air out of your lungs. He was rich, popular, and had that filthy handsome, hoodlum charm that made people fall for him without trying. His personality was just like his hair, sunny, warm, and full of life. We were opposites, and yet, we did everything together. Same schools, same clubs, same dorms, same faculty, always side by side. Gavin was perfect at everything: academics, sports, socializing. It was impossible not to be drawn to him. Maybe that's why I fell for him. Honestly, I don't even know when it started, it's been so long. I loved him quietly, secretly. And I didn't mind. Even if he only saw me as a friend, I was okay with that, because I knew no one else mattered to him like I did. Maybe not romantically, but deeply, in his own way. My daydreams were interrupted when something ice cold smacked against the back of my neck. Ah, I flinched, swatting the spot as I turned around. Gavin laughed, holding up a cold drink pack with a smirk. Told you not to zone out that hard, bookworm. I was standing here forever. Felt jealous of whatever you were thinking about. I snatched the drink from him with a scowl. Stop doing that. One day I'm gonna dump ice water on your pants. He grinned and slid into the seat beside me as class was about to start. You were deep in your thoughts. Had to drag you out somehow. I sighed and reached to fix the collar of his shirt. Mr. Campus Heartthrob, maybe check yourself in the mirror sometime. I have you, don't I? That's enough, he said easily, eyes softening just for me. I rolled mine and returned to my seat, flipping through my notes. As always, he started chatting with the girls nearby, helping one with her lip balm shade, teasing another about her eyeliner. He had an irritatingly good eye for that stuff. I was about to tune it all out when a classmate in front of me turned and said, "Hey, Leor, can I talk to you for a sec?" I nodded and followed him to his seat. He looked nervous, shy, even, and it took a while before he finally asked if he could borrow one of my novels. The poor guy stumbled through it like he was confessing something. I chuckled, easing his nerves. "Sure, I'll bring it tomorrow," I said. He brightened up, thanking me way too many times before returning to his spot. I waved with a smile, then felt an arm casually drape around my shoulder. I blinked. "Who was that?" Gavin asked, voice too light to be casual, eyes too dark to be calm. "A classmate," I replied. "You were laughing," he said, tilting his head. His fingers started running through my hair lazily. What was so funny about him? He just wanted to borrow a book. What's wrong with laughing? I pushed him off gently and walked back to my seat. Gavin shot a sharp glance at the guy before following me. Class began, and I sat in front while Gavin took the seat behind me. We had a short test, and then a long, dull lecture. I tried to focus, until I felt something tug gently at my hair. I flinched slightly. He was doing it again. Tugging the ends of my hair, brushing his fingers near my nape, teasing. My ears burned, but I kept still. Then, suddenly, his lips brushed near my ear. His voice, low and playful, whispered, "Your hair's distracting me, what am I supposed to do?" I bit down a flustered sound and hissed quietly, "Shut up and sit still." After class, the unexpected rain took everyone by surprise. Students ran for cover, huddling. Beneath awnings and jackets, laughter and shouts echoing across the courtyard. Gavin and I stood just beneath the building's shade, watching the rain pour down. Neither of us moved. "It's just like when we were kids," I said quietly, the smell of rain stirring old memories. Before I could say more, Gavin reached out, grabbed my hand, and pulled me into the downpour. "Let's pretend we're little again," he said with a boyish grin. I blinked, caught off guard, but then let out a soft laugh and nodded. We ran through the rain together, drenched and grinning like fools, not caring about wet clothes or cold skin. By the time we got back to our dorm, we were soaked to the bone, still laughing. I peeled my shirt away from my skin with a tired sigh. "Wanna go first, or should I shower?" I asked, running a hand through my wet hair. Gavin stood nearby, brushing rainwater from his golden lashes. His eyes were locked on me, intense in a way that made my chest flutter. My cheeks were flushed from the cold, water dripping from my black hair, clinging to my skin. He just stood there, staring. Then, suddenly, Gavin stepped forward, his hand gently brushing my soaked bangs from my forehead. "You're really something else, Lior," he murmured, voice soft and unreadable. I blinked, heat rising to my cheeks. "Something what? You're so weird sometimes," I mumbled, playfully nudging his chest. He gave a short laugh but didn't say anything more. His eyes lingered for a second longer on the way my shirt clung to my body before he quickly looked away. Later, after we both had showered, I came out wearing an oversized shirt and soft cotton shorts, towel drying my hair. Gavin was already at the table, his damp hair falling into his eyes, a hoodie lazily thrown on. We sat side by the window, books open between us, but I couldn't focus. The post-rain sky looked magical, soft clouds drifting beneath silver stars. I pointed upward, voice low and steady, "Look, that's Orion. And there's the twins, Gemini." But Gavin didn't look up. He watched me instead, the way the moonlight softened the edge of my face, the way my damp hair glowed faintly silver, the way I gestured as I spoke. "What?" I asked, noticing his silence. He smiled faintly. "Nothing. You should be studying." I gave a breathy chuckle and looked down at my notes again. Right, but that look in his eyes didn't fade, not for the rest of the night. It was almost midnight. The dorm was quiet except for the soft hum of the fan and the ticking wall clock. I was curled up on my bed with a novel, blanket around my legs, glasses slipping down my nose. Gavin was on the floor, leaning back against my bed, his laptop open on his lap, but his focus was elsewhere. "You're rereading that again?" he asked without looking. I shrugged, eyes still on the page. "It's comforting." He let out a soft hum of agreement. A few minutes passed in silence. Then, "Lior," he said suddenly. "Come here." I looked down at him. "Why?" "I'm reading." He turned, meeting my eyes with that look, half playful, half serious. "Just come here." I sighed dramatically, slid off the bed, and sat beside him, our shoulders brushing. His warmth bled into mine. "You've got something," he said, reaching over. I froze as his fingers gently brushed the corner of my mouth. He wiped away what must have been a crumb or ink smudge, then paused. His hand stayed there longer than needed, thumb tracing lightly near my lips. My breath caught. "Gavin," I whispered. He pulled his hand back slowly, but his eyes, they didn't move. They stayed on my face, on my parted lips, on the quiet panic in my eyes. "You're unfair sometimes," he said quietly. "Huh, why? What did I do?" I asked. He shrugged it off with a little smile, leaving me confused. I didn't ask anything more and laid down. The next day, I brought the book Patrick had asked for. I spotted him in the hallway near the lockers. "Thank you so much," he beamed, clutching the book to his chest like it was treasure. "I really didn't expect you'd remember." I chuckled softly. "Of course I did. It's a great read. I hope you like it." He looked genuinely excited, his eyes wide. "You're amazing, Lior, seriously." I noticed then how young he looked, probably a junior. He had soft features, slightly messy hair, and a shy smile that made him look even more boyish. "It's totally fine," I said, adjusting my glasses. "Honestly, I love seeing other people interested in books I love too. Makes it feel less lonely." We chatted for a while, realizing we had a lot of favorite genres in common: fantasy, tragic romance, character-driven slow burns. Patrick even pulled out his phone to recommend a few titles. "Wait, here, let me give you my contact," he said, grinning. We could swap book lists or even discuss chapters. I hesitated, then nodded, smiling. "Sure." We exchanged contacts, still talking about characters and plot twists as we walked a little further down the hall. What I didn't notice was the familiar pair of eyes watching from the corner, arms crossed, jaw tight, and an unreadable expression brewing. When I walked into class, I was surprised to find Gavin already seated, at the far corner, hunched over his desk, scribbling in his notebook with an expression that could cut steel. "Gavin," I blinked, approaching him. "What's wrong?" He didn't look up right away. When he finally did, his gaze locked onto mine, sharp and unreadable. "Who was that kid you were with in the hallway?" I paused, confused. "Who?" "Oh, Patrick. He just wanted a book from me, that's all." "You seemed close," he muttered, voice low but not exactly calm. I furrowed my brows. "We just talked a little." "You exchanged contacts too," he added, his voice quieter now but his stare deeper. My lips parted slightly. "Wait, how do you know that?" He didn't answer. Instead, he looked away and pressed his pen down harder onto his notebook. I watched as he ran it over the same spot again and again, until the paper began to tear. My chest tightened. What was going on with him? The gossip came like a slow wave. After people saw Patrick and me together a few times, whispers started. Apparently, someone thought he liked me. Others just ran with it. University students really had nothing better to do. 2 days later, Patrick looked unusually down. At the campus cafe, we sat together as he quietly returned the book. He lowered his head slightly, voice nervous. I'm really sorry, Lior. You're getting dragged into all this because of me. I shook my head. Hey, no, this isn't your fault. People just talk without knowing anything. His eyes widened a little. So, you're not mad? Of course not, I said gently. Don't let this stuff make you feel like you have to keep your distance. It'll fade. Gossip always does. Patrick looked up at me cautiously. Are you sure? I smiled. Completely. You're like a little brother to me. Honestly, I've enjoyed talking to you about books. It's rare to find someone who actually cares about the same stories. So no, I don't mind. Don't disappear over something silly like this. I lightly patted his hand. Patrick's expression eased, and he gave a small, shy smile. What neither of us noticed was the figure standing near the cafe counter, watching, unreadable eyes fixed on our table, fists clenched just out of sight. After leaving the cafe, I casually called Gavin, once, twice, 3 times. But he didn't answer. Confused, I tried texting. Still nothing. Later that evening, one of our dorm mates offhandedly mentioned that Gavin had gone to a club, alone. Something didn't sit right. Gavin never went to clubs, at least, not alone. My gut twisted as I grabbed my jacket and headed straight there. The place was loud, music pounding, lights flickering, bodies moving, but my focus was razor sharp. I searched through the crowd, and finally, I found him, slouched in the far corner, surrounded by empty glasses, cheeks flushed red, his eyes glazed over and hair messy. Gavin was drunk. More drunk than I'd ever seen him. Gavin, I rushed over, heart racing. What the hell happened to you? He looked up, eyes barely focusing, then gave a hazy smile. Whoa, I'm dreaming of you again, he murmured, voice slurred. At least in dreams, you're still with me. I blinked, taken aback. You gone completely crazy or what? I'm actually here, idiot. I crouched beside him. Come on, get up. I tried pulling him, but he resisted, staying slumped, eyes on me, soft and intense at the same time. Then he gently cupped my face with both hands, as if making sure I wouldn't disappear. You're really here, he whispered. I thought you liked being with that kid more. What? Shut up. Stand up already, I said, trying to lift him again. No, he whined like a child. Fine, I'm going back to that kid, then. No. Gavin suddenly shot up, towering over me. His expression was desperate, broken. Don't leave me, please don't. I froze as he hugged me, burying his face into my neck. His body trembled. Why do you want to go to him? He mumbled. We've been together forever. I was so sure you were mine, but now everything's changing. I don't get it. Why is it all changing? My chest ached. Gavin, get it together. Come on. I somehow managed to drag him out of the club, and like an obedient drunk puppy, he followed, mumbling and whining all the way back to the dorm. Thankfully, our roommates were out for a movie, so it was just us. As I unlocked the door and stepped in, Gavin suddenly pushed me back against it. I gasped, startled. You've changed, he whispered, his voice low, raw. I thought you didn't need anyone else but me. I thought I was enough. You can't give them what's mine. His forehead rested against mine, his breath warm. I was your first everything, your first hug, your first secret. My breath hitched. Then suddenly, he kissed me. Soft but intense. His lips moved against mine like he'd wanted this for too long, like he was terrified I'd vanish if he didn't claim me now. He sucked on my bottom lip gently, like it was the only thing anchoring him. Then, pulling back just an inch, he whispered against my lips, don't give my place to anyone else. You're only mine, only mine. And just like that, he slumped forward, fast asleep on my shoulder. I stood frozen, my heart thundering, breath shallow, mind blank. Slowly, I raised a trembling hand to touch my lips, where his kiss still lingered. The next morning, I was nothing short of horrified. With dark circles under my eyes and a head full of chaos, I stood brushing my teeth, staring at my own reflection like it might give me answers. I hadn't slept a wink all night. My thoughts were a mess, spinning endlessly around Gavin, around last night. When Gavin finally woke up, he looked disoriented, groggy, like someone who didn't quite know where they were. He didn't say anything, just sat there, blinking. Maybe he didn't remember what happened. Honestly, that was a relief. What was I supposed to do? Hey, you were drunk, you called me yours, and then you kissed me like you meant it. No thanks. That'd be beyond awkward. So yeah, I kept quiet. He seemed like his usual clueless puppy self, just quieter. But still, something was off. Like there was this invisible wall between us. Maybe he felt awkward too. Maybe he remembered something. But every time I looked at him, my eyes, traitors they were, would drift to his lips. And I'd freeze. The kiss, it was messing me up. Everything between us felt weird now. Unspoken tension hanging thick like fog. At class, we sat together, but it was silent. Not even a casual joke or playful shove. Just silence. And when I finally thought maybe I should break it, say something, a group of girls called his name. He glanced at me, murmured, "I'll be right back," and left. I let out a sigh, shoulders slumping. Then, suddenly, I remembered Patrick. At least talking to him wouldn't feel like walking on glass. I spotted him in the hallway and walked over. We greeted each other with a smile. He handed me back the book I'd lent him after reading it thoroughly. "I really like this one," Patrick said, hugging it one last time before handing it over. "Any more like this?" "Plenty," I smiled, glad for the distraction. "Come on, I'll write you a list." Our conversation came to a sudden halt when someone called for Patrick and lightly smacked the back of his head. "What are you doing here?" asked a guy, slightly shorter, sharp eyes, and definitely carrying a bad boy vibe. He looked at me, unimpressed. Patrick gave a nervous chuckle. "He's the senior I told you about, the one who shares books with me." "Oh, this is Lien, my, friend," Patrick said, clearly fumbling introducing him to me. The guy, Lien, scoffed. "Oh, so I'm just your friend now. Good, very good." His tone was biting, and Patrick looked like a deer in headlights. I almost laughed at how awkwardly entertaining it was. But before I could say a word, I felt someone appear beside me. Gavin. He didn't say anything. He just grabbed my wrist and pulled me away. I barely had time to wave a rushed goodbye to Patrick, who ran after Lien in panic. Gavin was dragging me off like a storm, and I couldn't help thinking, what a pair, me being kidnapped while Patrick chases chaos. The next thing I knew, Gavin slammed me against the dorm wall. The door clicked shut behind us. His hands were on either side of my head, eyes red and intense, fury, pain, confusion all burning in them. "Do you hate me?" he asked suddenly. I blinked, stunned. "What? Why would you think that?" He took a shaky breath. "Last night, we kissed, didn't we?" I froze. "Did you hate it?" he asked. "Did you hate what I said, so you just ignored it like it never happened? And after all that, you went back to that kid again? I told you last night, I don't want you to leave me. I don't want anyone taking my place. I want to be someone who stands beside you where no one else can." Was that too much to ask? His voice cracked slightly, barely holding it together. I didn't think you'd remember," I confessed, feeling exposed. "And what do you expect me to do, Gavin? Bring it up like it's nothing? I'm the one who's going crazy here, trying to process everything. I'm the one who's been in love with you, secretly, for so long. I never expected you to feel the same. I was used to this being one-sided. So when you suddenly kiss me, say things like that, I don't know how to handle it. Is it just because we're best friends? Because you're afraid of being alone? Or is it something more?" He looked at me, startled, eyes wide. Then he slowly cupped my face with both hands. "Of course it's something more," he whispered. "It has nothing to do with friendship. I don't even know when it started, but your smile began to mean something deeper. I wanted to be the only one who could make you smile like that. You've always been my safe place, my comfort, but I didn't realize you were my heart too." He paused, voice trembling with honesty. "I thought we were just best friends until I wanted more. I wanted to hold you tighter, kiss you, cuddle with you, wake up next to you every morning. That's not wrong, is it?" I looked away, heart aching. "You can't just say things like that, it's not fair to my heart. You don't know how long I've loved you. It hurts, Gavin, it really hurts." My voice broke, and tears escaped. Gavin's expression melted into one of teary joy. He wiped my tears so gently it almost made me cry more. Forgive me, he whispered. Let me make up for every moment I made you wait, every second I made you hurt. Just give me one chance, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving how much I love you. And then, he kissed me. Not like last night, this kiss was soft, slow, filled with emotion. A promise, a confession. I kissed back, arms wrapping around his neck as he held me by the waist, pressing me gently against the door. All the feelings I'd bottled up poured out with that kiss, and I knew, everything had changed. Gavin, I whimpered softly as his lips moved against mine like a storm finally let loose. No hesitation this time, no guilt, no fear. Just hunger. His hands gripped my waist tightly, pulling me flush against his chest as if trying to merge our bodies into one. I clung to him, fingers tangled in his shirt, heart pounding like it would rip through my ribs. When we finally broke apart, our foreheads remained pressed together, breaths mingling, shallow and heavy. Now what? I asked, voice barely more than a whisper, still trembling from the kiss. He smiled, breathless. Nothing much now, you just have to tolerate me. I blinked, confused for a second, until his smirk deepened and I saw that familiar fire in his eyes. Before I could respond, he crashed his lips onto mine again. This time it was fiercer, hot, demanding, desperate, like he was trying to make up for every second he'd held back. His hands roamed, possessive and eager, gripping my back, my neck, everywhere he could reach. I gasped into the kiss, my body already reacting, pressing closer, chasing the fire he was pouring into me. He groaned low in his throat when I kissed back just as hungrily, our mouths colliding in a rhythm that burned. My knees nearly buckled when his tongue slipped past my lips, claiming me in ways words never could. Every touch, every pull, every breath between us was a silent confession, a year's worth of tension exploding all at once. I was burning, and for once, I didn't want to be saved. The next morning felt different. Not because the sun shone brighter or the air smelled nicer, but because Gavin wouldn't stop grinning. Not a smug grin, a full-on lovesick puppy smile that practically screamed mine. He stuck to my side like glue from the moment we woke up, his arms lazily thrown over my waist, refusing to let me get out of bed. 5 more minutes, he mumbled, nuzzling into my neck, voice still raspy with sleep. Actually, 5 more hours. Or days. Let's never move. You're heavy, I whined, half laughing as I tried to push him off. And you drooled on my shoulder. He looked up, pouting. I mark what's mine. Gross. But I was smiling like an idiot. By the time we reached class, it was clear everyone noticed something had changed. Gavin kept holding my hand under the desk like it was some top-secret mission. And when I got up to go borrow a pen from someone, he followed. I gave him a look. You could have stayed. He tilted his head dramatically. You think I can breathe if you're more than 5 feet away? That's bold of you. I groaned. You're insufferable. And yet, he leaned in, eyes gleaming, you kissed me last night. Twice. I shoved him, blushing hard. Shut up. He chuckled, only to pull me into a sudden tight side hug, not caring who was watching. I'm serious though. I'm yours now. Fully. No. Backsies. From the corner of the class, someone whispered, wait, are they dating now? Dude, look at them. He's literally hanging off him like a koala. What do you think? We didn't care. Not when he'd randomly press kisses to my temple. Not when he carried both our bags like some overly proud golden retriever boyfriend. Not when I found myself smiling more than I ever had. Whatever this was, it was chaotic, clingy, messy, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It had been a year. 1 full year since that chaotic, heart-stopping confession, since Gavin had slammed me against the wall, red-eyed and desperate. Since we kissed like the world would end, only to fall into something crazier, love. After graduation, we came out to our parents about our relationship. Unlike what we expected, we were engulfed with embrace and acceptances instead. So of course life couldn't be any much better. Now, we stood on the balcony of our shared apartment, city lights shimmering below. The cool night breeze tangled through my hair, and behind me, warm arms wrapped around my waist, lips brushing the back of my neck. I still can't believe you're mine, he murmured against my skin, his voice low and honeyed. Even now, I'm scared I'll wake up and you'll be gone. I turned, meeting his eyes, so full of love it knocked the breath out of me. I'm not going anywhere, idiot. Gavin's lips curved into a soft smirk, the kind that always came before trouble. Then let me remind you exactly what being mine means. He leaned in, catching my lips in a kiss that started tender but deepened quickly, urgency building with every second. His hand slipped under the hem of my shirt, palms against bare skin, fingers memorizing every inch like he'd die without it. We stumbled back into the bedroom, the city forgotten behind us. He hovered over me on the bed, eyes burning. "Say it," he whispered. "Say you love me." I stared up at him, heart thudding. "I love you. I've always loved you." He smiled like he'd won the world, and then we were kissing again, hungry, slow, and desperate. Clothes were shed in between breathless laughs and whispered promises. His hands roamed like he was drawing stars on my skin, lips never leaving mine for long. Every movement, every touch was laced with emotion. It wasn't just lust, it was something deeper. We weren't just bodies tangled in sheets, we were souls trying to melt into each other. He held me like I was everything. I kissed him like he was home. And that night, under soft moonlight and tangled sheets, we made love for the first time like it was forever. Because it was.